When I was younger, my parents would always arrange playdates for me because I wasn't exactly the most social of kids and didn't really have many friends. Back then, I'd feel annoyed with them when they did this to me. I didn't mind sitting in my room, tipping my plastic crate of Star Wars toys upside down and acting out stories with the most acrobatic lightsaber battles you ever saw. I suppose doing this all the time by myself was slightly weird, and being an only child, I'd be lying if I told you there wasn't times I wish somebody else could be there, if only so that the space battles and ground duels could happen simultaneously. My problem was, though, that unless I knew you, I wasn't likely to interact with you, which was quite the dilemma for my young mind. So, in retrospect, it was probably a good thing that I was forced to sit in the bedrooms of a variety of different kids, awkwardly agreeing to whatever they wanted to do, while I sweated over their opinion of me. I would have been more grateful for it now, if it hadn't been for that one Friday the 13th. My parents wanted to go out for dinner, so I was pawned off on a couple of new friends of theirs for the night, as they had a child who was of similar age to me. I did my usual tantrums and begging, but with less enthusiasm compared to those first few times. I knew the drill by that point. They were not going to change their mind. When I got there, he was in the middle of having a bath, so his parents told me I could just go to his room and play with his toys. This ended up with me sat on a chair, arms folded and bored in his room because my social awkwardness wouldn't dare let me touch some kid's toys without asking. I stuck to a strict look but don't touch policy. The temptation was high when I saw Stretch Armstrong sitting on his desk. That was the latest fad at the time, and it looked amazing in all those commercials that would play on Cartoon Network. I just wanted to see if it really could stretch for miles. At that point, I heard someone running towards the room. I turned to the door, and a kid, younger than I am, appeared. He said hello and was all excitable and friendly. He told me his big brother was taking a bath and asked if I wanted to see something. This kind of put me at ease being there, to be honest. I loved kids that didn't really care what I had to say and that could just talk and talk. I agreed to see whatever it was he wanted to show me and followed him. He took me down to the kitchen, where there was a door that he opened. A door that led to the basement. He walked halfway down the stairs and then just stood still, pointing at something in the corner of the room. I climbed down to where he was and tried to get a better look at it. I asked him what it was, but he kept pointing at it and ushering me over to it. I thought it was just some dumb game he was playing or something. So I went right down the stairs and approached it. As I got closer, all I could see was some sort of crumpled up brown paper bag. It looked like it was quite soggy. There was a nearby rake, so I just picked that up and prodded at it before deciding to open it up. When I opened it, I almost threw up, right there on the spot. The stench was horrendous, and I could still remember the smell, even today. It was just this cat. It was dead, but obviously hadn't been dead for long. I began dry heaving after I noticed its right arm bone had popped out through the bag. I remember his little brother just laughing at me and then running away. I went straight back to the bedroom afterwards and saw my playdate in there at that point. I couldn't think of anything to say to the kid since I felt quite nervous, so I blurted out the story of this dead cat his brother just showed me. I remember telling him the story, and he just gave me this look. It was a look as if I was some sort of crazy person. He was nodding along, but his face was screwing up the more of it I told him. Once I told him the full story, he just sort of froze for a second, looking confused. Then he turned to me and said something I'll never forget until the day I die. He only said, "I don't have a brother." My parents never took me for a playdate again after that, and to this day, whenever I bring this up, I swear it must have been my imagination, or something that I remember wrong. It's become a sort of tradition of mine to question them on this date, because it reminds me of that strange little boy. We moved away from that town a few years later, and it's been 15 years since. And I still don't really know what happened. But I swear to God, that kid was really there. I didn't make it up.